have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars Wrestling Show. I am your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. To my right is Scholar Tarek.
Not just Scholar Tarek, but Mr. Scholar in the Bank, Scholar Tarek.
Overshadowed only by the current reigning Scholars of Wrestling champion, the esteemed Scholar Brian.
Which proves one thing. Sometimes being a douche does bring you good things.
Sometimes.
Well, I will have to give you a high
Sometimes.
five for tying Extreme Rules.
But it doesn't matter because you were not involved in the championship match. So,
I may not have been involved in the bigger picture of you guys fighting for that title.
oh, trust me,
I
in
have
the back of my mind, it is always there.
In the back of your mind, I'm always there.
Yes.
Just going, Brian.
I am the meat in an ego
Brian.
sandwich.
And as champion, I must state to our fans, okay, that as champion, yes, it is written down on paper, and I have signed the paper stating that I will defend at every pay-per-view going forward when I am the champion. I'm under no illusions, okay? I could lose it at SummerSlam. I'm already shitting myself over Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles. I don't know what I'm going to predict for that one. That's a 50-50, who the fuck knows on that one. However, okay, even if it wasn't written down on paper, even if I wasn't contractually obligated to do so, okay, I don't need a reason for a title defense. And I don't look at any pay-per-view that is saying this is a bullshit pay-per-view. I'm not going to defend, even though everybody did agree on that one, so I'll give him whatever. I am a fighting champion. At all times, I will defend my title against anybody. Bring it on. There is no
I will hold you to that.
There is no backing down. If I start coming off that way, you're allowed to slap me on camera. You can write that down too. That's it.
Well,
Did
you hear that?
And I'm writing it down. I'm getting it on paper.
You know you're going to have to sign this one too.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Brian.
I am under no illusions. I've got this asshole over here with a briefcase that can do that at any time. Okay, I'm under no illusions. And SummerSlam, who knows what's gonna happen.
It may be off screen now, but it's always there.
But while I am champion, whenever I am champion, I will never miss a title defense.
And we will hold you to that.
And that, I give you a golf clap. I give you a golf clap.
And you know what? As much as the world of Scholars of Wrestling is heating up, the world of wrestling proper is heating up, and there's quite a bit to talk about. And let's dive right into it with a little something we like to call a backstage news.
Indeed, we shall go ahead and peek behind that curtain and check in on a little
Backstage news. Ladies for the win, man.
I will have to say, Brian, that was a very glorified meh.
Yes.
And a very glorified backstage news. That sounds like something a champion would do.
Had to be done.
Had to be done.
Coming back in style, I love it. But speaking of coming back in style,
Sorry.
what the...
No, I'm not. I'm not at all.
That's what she said.
She's a whore.
Well, that,
Which is actually not that very fitting considering what we're talking about.
I was going to say, that is
Every
to be
step
the
was
worst segue ever.
Every step of that segue was terrible.
Yes.
Okay, let's think of a new one. Good wrestling, good women's wrestling. The announcement of WWE Evolution coming at the end of October, the WWE's first all-women's pay-per-view. I gotta ask, what was your guys' first initial reaction to this?
We all knew this was coming. It wasn't
I
a
said
surprise.
on Twitter, I honestly believed that the announcement was going to be women's tag titles. But this is good too.
I still think that that's going to be announced before this show.
It's probably
But
going to
the
be a big match.
But I always thought, since they went into this whole women's revolution deal from the beginning, I was like, this is going to lead to them getting their own big pay-per-view. It took, what, 2 years? It's been going on for about 2 years? Okay, from that moment that they had Paige, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Sasha Banks all come out and debut, and they had Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Sasha Banks come out, debut at the same time, I was like, okay, we've got something here. They're leading somewhere, and they did that stable battle for a good 3 months, and I was like, okay, this is the beginning of something big here. And from that moment, and then they started doing the main events on pay-per-views, whether they were good or not. That's it.
That's up for debate.
And so this has all been leading to a women's pay-per-view, women's only pay-per-view. And when they said Stephanie McMahon had a big announcement, a lot of people thought it was going to be the tag team titles. I thought it was going to be this.
I thought it was going to be a mixture of both. And my initial reaction was, awesome. They're due for their own pay-per-view. My only real criticism is just really the execution. Same thing with they announced the Women's Royal Rumble. Same thing how they announced most women gimmick matches. I don't like the fact that how it opened up Raw with first Vince McMahon coming out, Triple H and Stephanie, then just to come to introduce Triple H and Stephanie. They came out, they had the entire Raw roster and then the Raw and SmackDown women's roster, and I think they were NXT. I'm not 100% sure.
Nikki Cross was there.
Shayna Baszler was there.
So, okay.
I didn't see Shayna, I just saw Nikki.
Nikki was there as well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
she was kind of hard not to miss. I mean,
I thought I saw Shayna Baszler. I might be wrong.
But it's a lot of work to be all that crazy all the time. But then,
as I was saying, the whole announcement itself, you had all the women. Triple H praised all the women for what they've accomplished in all this time. And then Stephanie made the announcement. And then all the women were just basically celebrating. They forget
their characters every time.
It's the whole thing of like killing the kayfabe of the fact like, okay, you get this, yay! I'm so happy. You have Asuka and Carmella basically standing there about to give each other hugs. I'm like, weren't you two in the middle of a feud?
We've only been beating the shit out of each other for 3 months.
In my personal opinion, they should have announced this similar to how Vince McMahon makes announcements, so like how he announced the XFL, how he makes special announcements on WWE.com. No, nothing in the ring, just Stephanie and Triple H standing there doing exactly what they said, but just in front of the camera to the rest of the world, and then have the audience, and then have the show, like some of the show, respond to that. Mainly the women, maybe one or two guys. But not have it completely take over the show. But we'll get to that when we discuss Raw. But on the official announcement, I couldn't be any more happy for these women.
Yeah. Really, as sort of off-putting as it was to have the whole self-congratulatory vibe, it is way overshadowed by how good this is going to be. I can forgive all of that very, very easily, as long as the show produces the kind of wrestling that I think we all know it will.
And just so I can get this out, give certain people like maybe 2-3 minutes on the show tops. Okay, you all know who I'm talking about. That's it. If you're gonna do a multi-woman elimination match, she goes out first. Okay, that's it. And then you can have all the fun you want afterwards. I will watch it at that point. That's it.
Damn, I forgot. I just totally blanked out on what I was gonna say. I guess I just can go back to what I initially said. I'm very happy for them. Yes. I just don't like the fact that it's once again like how Stephanie announced the Women's Royal Rumble. They were all chanting yes and giving each other hugs and just saying, "Oh, we're all buddy. We're not." Like, it's them acknowledging that this is a show, and you know how Vince McMahon always had that key rule of don't break kayfabe. Well, apparently that rule is slowly getting tossed out the window.
If you're gonna do stuff like that, okay, do it in the ring with everybody out of ringside. At least keep the characters in kayfabe. Keep them in character. Don't put Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax next to each other. Don't
Actually,
put Asuka.
They were like across from each other because of their real.
At least there's some effort.
But you know what I mean.
But that's just because of their real heat between the two.
But it's also, you know what I mean. Don't put people who are feuding with each other, who have feuded with each other over the past like 6 months. Don't put them anywhere near each other. Okay, have them meme mugging
just
and
don't
doing
have them
all
on
that.
the stage at all.
No, this is the way WWE works. If you're gonna do it the way you were doing it, okay, they want it to be in the ring, they're gonna have it in the ring. That's it. If you're gonna do it in the ring, make sure everything is done correctly. Feuds wise, you can't put people feuding with each other next to each other. You can't have relatively angry character superstars all smiling with themselves and giddy as hell. They still got to be me mugging the camera at that point. You got to keep in character and in feuding kayfabe, whether you're happy with the announcement that's going on in the ring or not.
Yeah, thankfully, again, if memory serves, and given the women's division's recent track record, no matter what you thought of the initial announcement, there's certainly a lot more exciting stuff left to come with this show.
That's the hope.
I actually remember what I was going to say. What are the odds the theme song for this is going to be a female version of Evolution's theme?
Female-led, yes.
I'm going
Evolution
75%.
themes, not quite.
I'm going 75%.
A female cover of the Evolution theme.
Get the who was that guitar player for the Shinsuke entrance at WrestleMania? Get her to do at least the guitar riffs.
Oh, and also, when it comes to the show itself, I'm not that nervous about because it's, from what I've been reading, it actually is going to be a Triple H produced show. And since you know how he does with NXT and 205 Live, I'm not all that worried.
Oh, if that's true, neither am I.
Get Lizzie Hill to do the theme.
Yes, please.
To do the theme song.
I'd be okay with
sing
that.
Yes, please.
Lizzie Hill singing the blonde guitarist from the Shinsuke Nakamura WrestleMania entrance doing the guitars. That's all I need. I don't even need the drum piece.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. I just made Jeff happy. We're on good terms again.
Yes, we are. Yes, all is right with the world if that happens.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's so much more else to talk about this week in wrestling, so let's dive right into, starting with this Monday Night Raw.
AKA, let's talk about WWE Evolution every single segment. If you don't know, WWE is producing an all-women's pay-per-view called Evolution, October 28th. Don't miss it. October 28th.
October 28th.
October 28th.
Follow the Elbow Road.
I will say this. Okay, I missed the first hour of Raw. Okay, I did not miss that segment because they played it 4 times in full throughout the show.
They took
time anyway.
They took most of backstage segments. The people that are in it. Hey, I can't believe I'm so excited for Evolution. It's going to be great. Now we get to see Charlotte and Sasha Banks and Bayley.
And you know it's out of control when Seth Rollins, in a promo after his match, setting up the Intercontinental title match at SummerSlam, the first thing he says isn't anything about being happy about that. No, it's being happy that the women have their own pay-per-view. I'm like, it's not that we're not excited for this pay-per-view, okay? But you have an Intercontinental Championship match at SummerSlam against Dolph Ziggler, And I don't really care what you think about the women's.
It's like
Oversaturation to the max.
We get Women's Evolution in what is it, 3 months?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the pay-per-view that's happening in a few weeks.
It's like
the pay-per-view that's after WrestleMania.
You want to know the only people I want to hear from about the Women's Evolution pay-per-view? The women. If they want to talk about the Evolution pay-per-view, I'm all ears. I don't give a shit if Seth Rollins is the one talking about it.
I'll let the Braun Strowman one slide. Mainly because he's talking about his Mixed Match Challenge partner, Alexa Bliss, and the fans were loving it.
Yes.
I will give him I will let that one slide. But then you have the B team talking about how great it is. Let's go defend our titles. Oh, wait. We forgot our titles. Oops. I'm sorry. We were too busy talking about WWE Women's Evolution that's going to take place October 28th at Nassau Coliseum. Finn Balor talking with Chad Gable. Hey, can't you believe they're gonna have WWE Evolution October 28th at Nassau Coliseum? Oh wait, why are they taking my stuff? Oh, because Constable Corbin is gonna put it in a child's playhouse because he's small.
For a second there, you actually sounded like the Micro Machines guy.
I'll take that as a compliment because he does talk very fast, and I'm trying my best. But that the whole show they showed the promo. They had the segments talk about it. They had the commentators not shut up about it. So while I'm watching Raw, I feel like this is happening. Evolution.
Let me put it to you this way, okay? I looked forward to the Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley match only because it will get that damn segment off of my screen. I was like, ooh, wrestling. Oh, shit, it's Roman. Fuck it, it's wrestling.
All right, on that happy note, while we're talking about it, of course, Roman Reigns defeated Bobby Lashley. What did you all think of the result of this match?
Extreme Rules is completely pointless.
No, I really don't think so because I still think that Bobby Lashley is going to find his way into this match.
How was that?
I don't even know. It's just like it's what I want in the back of my mind. I was like, okay, Roman Reigns beats Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley does the handshake thing. And Charlie and I were trying to do it afterwards. Roman Reigns did a little motion after he shook his hand as he turned around. Mm-hmm. It looked like he did like the jerk me off motion to the crowd, and we were like, he's got to look up at the screen, he's got to see that, and he's got to fucking attack Roman Reigns, and they're gonna put him in a match. I'm like, I will take any way to get Bobby Lashley into this match, so it's not something we've seen before in the main event of Summer. This has got to be the main event of SummerSlam.
Unfortunately,
you can't. You can look me dead in the eyes and tell me Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles is going to main event SummerSlam. I will look you dead in the eyes right back and call bullshit. That's it. So,
if Triple H was running the show, probably because he knows. Quality over
but guess
quantity.
what? We saw Vince McMahon on Monday, so we know he's still running the show. So I hate that it ended the way it did. I hated that it was a conclusive victory. I don't like the fact that this could be a singles match at the pay-per-view because I'm done. I hope whoever walks out of SummerSlam walks out of the match that we'll talk about at SummerSlam who has the briefcase. Okay, whoever doesn't cashes in immediately. Okay, immediately. Because I don't care. I don't. I gave a shit more about the WrestleMania match than I ever will about this match.
It's just they have to add something more to this. Because Bobby Lashley has nothing going into SummerSlam. I hope you're right that he does find his way in somehow, because I don't want to look at how this match was built as like, okay, Extreme Rules, nothing's on the line, so let's give it to Bobby Lashley. Their rematch on Raw 2 weeks later. Oh, this is for the #1 contendership for the Universal title? Roman has to win. I don't want to also look at it as like, oh, I'll be Vince McMahon and just be like, all right, Bobby Lashley either wins this match or he doesn't. He either becomes number one contender or he doesn't. And now let's look at Roman Reigns. He either becomes number one contender.
Line.
No, that's it. Okay. He just becomes number one contender, damn it, because he's Roman Reigns.
And you know what? Just the fact that we still have some time left to build this thing leads me to believe, sort of gives me hope and makes me okay with the result of this particular match. Just because there's so many other different ways they can spin this, make it fresh,
and
do something with it.
And they need something. They need something for Roman Reigns to do because Brock Lesnar isn't coming till the last 2 weeks before SummerSlam. So that leaves.
I heard he was showing up next week.
Okay,
I think they announced it.
I'm pretty sure that he's only showing up for 2 of the Raws before SummerSlam. So it's like you have time. That's why I was like the result of this match sucks, but we still have a month.
We still have a month for them to do something good because it'll lead to my letter B. You're doing it in Brooklyn. You're doing it in New York, one of the biggest wrestling crowds who have made it perfectly clear how much they don't like Roman Reigns, and they made it perfectly clear how much they don't like Brock Lesnar as Universal Champion.
And let's face it, okay? They probably don't like Bobby Lashley either. But
so they got to do something. The only real saving grace in this is the Monster in the Bank, Braun Strowman. I don't like that I have to call it that, but that's what they're that's what they're putting on the shirt. That's what they're calling him. They're big. They have to have Braun in this somehow. And even though it's going to be him and Kevin Owens for the briefcase, I think he's going to insert himself at once the match begins. Like it's going to be ding ding ding, Braun, and he's going to walk in and give the referee the contract, and it's going to be a triple threat. That's the only way for them to not have the people in New York leave.
And that's what's keeping me engaged and hopeful with this match, just because Braun Strowman is still hanging out. That's a virtual guarantee that he's going to save this entire thing.
He has to.
Yes. On that note, is there any other assorted thoughts on Raw this week?
The best thing that actually came out of Raw was, first, Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre, which became a tag team match, holla holla, with Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. And once again, Seth Rollins shows why he is the face of the real face of Monday Night Raw. It is called Monday Night Rollins for a reason. And nothing against Finn Balor, but he is in such a bad position, which is really heartbreaking. This whole scene is kind of heartbreaking because you have four of your best talent being pushed aside just so you can push Roman Reigns to going to the Universal title again.
Yeah. And now you're now you're gonna get Rollins versus Ziggler again for the Intercontinental title. I still don't want Rollins to win because I think he's as much. Once, as I said in the lead up to Extreme Rules, okay. Once he was done with the Intercontinental title, once he lost, once he had his rematch, once he did that, I'm like, I don't want you here anymore. I want you up there. You had your time with the Intercontinental title. You brought it back to... You helped bring it... The Miz brought it all the way back, but you helped keep it there. Okay, now you've done your job with this title. Now move on and go after that one. So I was hoping that Seth Rollins was going to win
his triple threat
and not Bobby Lashley. That didn't happen, and I was like, shit, we're going to get him for the Intercontinental title again, aren't we? I'm like, I don't want... I would have rather had Balor versus Ziggler for the Intercontinental title.
But
because I'm like, I don't... Because most likely...
It's going to be another Corbin versus Balor.
Yeah.
Who wants that?
it's like we're
want
in
that?
limbo.
Not particularly.
Okay, I just wanted to make
bunch
that clear
yeah.
because I thought
Well,
I thought you were gonna be that
Yeah.
one.
Not
like,
this time.
but-
I'm picking my battles here.
All this Raw did was show that we got a whole shit ton of people in limbo over on Raw. They're not furthering anything on Raw while they are furthering shit on SmackDown. You got people who have been in the same feuds for over 3 months now, and it's SummerSlam, your second biggest pay-per-view of the year, and we're just gonna run out retreads of Iron Man match at Extreme Rules. That should have been it. Done. Iron Man match closes out everything, no matter what kind of bullshit happened at the end.
The only real thing that I could actually see them adding to the Intercontinental Championship is if they threw Drew McIntyre in, because they've already planted the seeds of Dolph and Drew having some kind of, like, I don't want to say friction, but just the fact that they might break up soon, which I still think it's too soon. Even now, it's still too soon. But Daniel Bryan said it best: "Do you really trust WWE in long-term booking?" So they may have some hint that they're gonna add Drew to that Intercontinental title match because he's too valuable
At this
to
point,
be more than just the guy standing outside the ring for Dolph.
At this point, just fuck it, make it a fatal 4-way.
To add Finn,
To have the
could be
four
fun.
people. Have the four people. You have multi-man matches for the Intercontinental title all the time on.
I would love that if they could just not give us Constable Corbin versus Balor again.
Yeah.
Just get that done, because you saw what they did when they did it with Big Cass and Daniel Bryan. No one gave a shit, and now people aren't giving a shit on this one either because.
And they did it in the same way. Balor won with a roll-up the first time.
Well,
didn't Bryan win with the roll-up the first time?
no, he put him in the yes lock
I
and
thought
made
he
him
did
tap
that
out
to-
like a bitch.
I thought he did that the second time.
No,
he did that both
used,
times.
He didn't do the yes lock the second time. What was his leg submission hold? I know he introduced
Bryan?
he introduced a leg submission hold for this one because he focused on Cass's leg. I know. Shit, I gotta look it up.
It'll probably come up like 5 or 10 minutes from now. In the meantime, let's look at the cornucopia of good stuff that's happening on SmackDown Live, not the least of which is my personal favorite moment of the week: Samoa Joe coming out of nowhere and choking out AJ Styles.
And the line, TikTok.
I love Samoa Joe.
TikTok.
I love Samoa Joe. I love AJ Styles, and the fact that we're getting this for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam.
Yay!
Yes, please.
Yes.
But I will say, I gotta just continue with this big criticism because it was a huge criticism I've had for the last couple of days. They took time away from that segment to push WWE Evolution October 28th at Nassau Coliseum. Be there. Paige, perfectly fine with it. But the fact that you actually had AJ Styles spend his entire promo talking about it and talking about his daughter and all of that, and he's like, but now let's talk about the WWE Championship. Paige, who do we got? And then you got James Ellsworth coming in, and I actually like that the whole thing. I like that they brought that back. The fact that James Ellsworth actually did beat AJ Styles 3 times. Like, they actually did bring that back, and it was even more funny because the roles were reversed at that time, because Ellsworth was still booked as a face and AJ was the heel. And I do like the fact that the first half is just a comedy, basically the comedy, but then it's Samoa Joe who brings that back. It's like, yeah, you may have just been enjoying James Ellsworth getting thrown out of the building by Paige, but I'm here, motherfucker. There's my one. But I'm here and I'm choking your ass out. I'm signing TikTok, signing the contract. Bye. And I love Paige's like, I like because you're so unpredictable. But why did you do that? And Samoa Joe's, you said it yourself, I'm unpredictable. Duh.
You said it yourself. And because I can.
He's so good.
He's so good at being bad.
I love it. Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
You know who's so good at being bad and got me invested? Randy Orton.
Yes.
His promo was surprisingly much more decent than I expected it to be.
I'm telling you, okay, Randy Orton should have never been a face in the first place. This is the Randy Orton
that he wants.
That we want. That this is the best version of Randy Orton when he's that dick heel.
And it's
that's just that cerebral dick heel who's just like.
You were trying to go for a cerebral assassin, but like, no, wrong person.
Yeah,
I had to call you out on that.
It's just this is the wrestler that Randy Orton wants to be, and now that he gets to be it, we're seeing the best version of it.
What I love is it's even more than just the best version. It feels like a complete circle on his character. Because at first he's talking about how when he was younger in his career, he was the legend killer, but now he realizes that the real legend killers are the fans. And now he's now the point where he's the legend. And now it's his mission to take down all the young and up-and-comers to prevent anyone from getting into that spot of the legend killer where he was at in his prime. I'm like,
the only problem I had...
I'm like, that is so great. That actually puts so much dimensions in his heel turn. It's more than just heel turn for the sake of being a heel turn. He's actually having dimensions in his heel turn.
The only problem I had with that, I said this while I was watching the promo. I was like, okay, so up and comers, you take out Jeff Hardy.
I will give you that. But hey man, he is a big face.
Well, yeah,
he is a big face. That's the only real slide I have.
That's got to be like the beginning of it. That's just like this is just to announce. I'm like, this is just to announce that this is what I'm thinking, and the way I actually did it was I had to do it on Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy, the guy who's actually been in the company a lot longer than I have.
Yeah, so
he was he was here in the '90s while I came in the early 2000s.
He's saying all
2004.
This. He's saying all this, and while I'm like, this is a great promo, like this is a great idea, and then I'm like, but he attacked Jeff Hardy.
The only real criticism.
Details.
The only real criticism I do have was when he said that I didn't have the respect of you, the people. And it's like, that's the reason why I did what I did, is because you people not showing respect to me. I feel like that really wasn't the case, because even though us smarks were thinking he's getting stale, even he was thinking he was getting stale, most of the casuals still cheered him. He was still being highly praised by the fans. So I feel like Wrestle Talk actually said this perfectly. This was a Roman Reigns heel turn promo. That whole line, that's a Roman Reigns heel promo. That should have been saved for him. And I wholeheartedly agree. I'm like, you know what?
I gotta agree with that too.
I do agree with. That's the only real criticism. Everything else Randy Orton said was just fantastic. And I can't wait to see what he does. And he'll eventually go for the United States title, because he was asking, "Where's Shinsuke?" when he was attacking Jeff. So could this be in line of a face turn for Shinsuke, but like kind of like the anti-hero face turn, him keeping that asshole persona?
I feel like Shinsuke would be a good neutral.
I think he would be a very good neutral.
Edgy face.
Like you have the...
Tweener.
Eventually, when Jeff Hardy comes back after his knee heals, Jeff Hardy versus neutral Shinsuke versus heel Orton for the United States title at SummerSlam.
Because really, you don't need to be a heel to punch people in the nuts.
No.
Okay?
Or knee them in the face.
No, I mean, like, because that's basically been the extent of Shinsuke Nakamura's heel turn. It's like he does really great promos, confusing the shit out of other people, and I love that. And then he comes out.
Hear me?
Yeah.
Jeff, can you hear me?
Shinsuke's
promo was
and then
fantastic.
he comes out and punches you in the nuts. That's basically the extent of his heel turn. So it's like, you don't need to be a heel to do that.
But hey, it's working. Fans are loving it.
Well, if the fans are loving it, then it's not working, because he's supposed to be a bad guy. But
Hey,
here's
over.
what you do. But here's what you do. You don't need to be a heel to punch people in the nuts and confuse the shit out of commentators and reporters. Okay, you can be that neutral guy. So in this feud, okay, you have the face, Jeff Hardy. You have the hardcore heel, Randy Orton, and you have that guy in the center, neutral Shinsuke Nakamura, just handing out nut shots at will, confusing the shit out of his opponent.
And it will work.
Yeah, I really think it will. Heel version of that character of Shinsuke Nakamura was still getting cheered. So it's like it worked and it didn't. So now you have the opportunity to make a different you now have a hardcore heel in the program where Shinsuke Nakamura was supposed to be the hardcore heel. So
but he's just too charismatic.
Speaking of charismatic, any other highlights of note that you want to point out from this past week's SmackDown?
I love the
Because I got one.
I love the fact, let me just bring it up. I love the fact that they're positioning themselves for a Becky Lynch title win at SummerSlam. I feel like it's going to happen. That's because, I mean, like...
Fair enough.
With Asuka, you didn't have, like, that 3-month-long build-up before of her just getting wins over other people. It just kind of happened that she got the title shot. But here, you've had build of Becky Lynch just beating people for the last 3 months. Yeah, and now she's going up against the champion. So I feel like it's time. You know what I mean? Like they actually built something up that I feel they're gonna go through with, and the fact that it's my favorite women's wrestler that is getting built up fills me with joy.
And hopefully it'll take down the one thing of SmackDown that I legit hate, Carmella. Is that what you were hinting at before?
What?
When you're talking about the whole charisma and you turned to me?
No, I know exactly what he was talking about.
I was talking about the Daniel Bryan Miz segment.
Oh no, we'll save that one for later. There's still a couple of things that I at least want to talk about. One in particular that definitely gave me an erection after watching it. I will talk. We can't not talk about Andrade Cien Almas versus Rusev. That match was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
I even liked the build. I liked the little backstage dispute that they had. I love how similar these two are. Cien Almas, Selena Vega, and Rusev and Lana. They're very similar. At least that's how they when they began. Like especially with Rusev and Lana, they were very similar to where Almas and Vega are now. And I just love I like that they actually had this match. I like the story. I like that Rusev was booked as a hardcore face in this. Looks like this is our official Rusev face turn.
About time.
I like the story with Aiden English adding into it. I like that they're actually adding drama to this. As long as they actually don't break them up, I'm good. I like that Almas got the win. I like that they planted seeds that once Almas actually reaches to a better point where he's actually like one of the top draws on the show, we can come back to Rusev versus Andrade Cien Almas in the future. As long like this is just the one-time deal, and now move on temporarily and let this feud come back in the future.
And I love the fact that Cien Almas is actually getting like
he's getting a reaction now.
Not even a reaction. It's the fact that he's getting these high-profile matches now. Instead of, I loved his series with Sin Cara. They were all awesome matches. But now he's doing Rusev. Didn't he do Styles last week?
He did do Styles last week.
So it's like he's getting high-profile matches. He's getting high-profile reactions. I don't see him.
Well, now after his match with Styles, he's getting reactions.
Yeah, I don't see him low on the card.
He's definitely now a top mid carder.
Yeah, and I don't even he'll be up there soon enough, and he's proving it with his ring work every week.
Absolutely.
And now to what I was hinting at before. The tag team tournament. With first we had the New Day beating Sanity because
50-50 booking.
50-50
Gotta
booking.
have it.
Yeah, 50-50 booking this. Well, now then the Usos doing commentary. And now we have the Usos versus the returning Sheamus and Cesaro. Return of the Bar. I couldn't be any more happy about this. They are going to show that they don't just set the bar. They are the bar. And I got myself a bar after watching this segment.
They're going to
show
themselves.
Need to go to the bar after that comment like that.
They're going to show themselves to be the bar when they lose next week.
Oh, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be New Day versus Sheamus and Cesaro to be the final match of their tournament. But it also brings the question: where the hell is the Good Brothers?
Yeah.
Where's Gallows? Did the last time we saw them, Shinsuke killed them.
Well, there you go.
No joke. Remember, it was when Shinsuke was about to knee Styles in the face, and it was Anderson that took the bullet, and then he just did a second one, and that was the last we saw of him.
So we'll say this.
So, yeah, Shinsuke killed them.
They're permanently confused. That's it.
Okay, we talk. Okay, now I got that out of the way. I got my erection out of the way. Let's talk about what you wanted to do. Talking about charisma.
Yeah, so we're finally getting Daniel Bryan and Miz. This is finally happening. At long last, presumably just in time for SummerSlam. What'd you guys think of this? Does it live up to the hype, or is it a little too late?
It was a great...
yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the segment or the build of the match for SummerSlam?
Either or, take a pick.
Okay, for the segment itself, obviously they're building Miz and Mrs., which I actually do want to see because from what I've been hearing, it's actually really good. It was a very good premiere.
I mean, The Miz knows how he's done reality TV before. Like,
Hell,
not even Total Divas. He started off on the Real World. So
yeah, exactly.
He's he knows exactly how to
play
to the camera on that reality sense that people like the Bellas and them don't really know. So the moment they said Miz was getting a reality show, I was like, in.
And apparently, since the fact that they technically met on a quote reality show with the Diva Search, it comes full circle for them too. I like the segment. Obviously, you could tell it was going to be a fake baby.
Always, you knew it.
I like what Daniel Bryan did he did something similar to what Miz did with Kane with Team Hell No. What was it, 2 weeks ago? With the segment of all their mishaps.
Yes.
He now did the same thing with Miz. He beat up the security guards. He looked at the red rope, opened it, closed it because he's such a good guy. And then he went to try and attack Miz. Miz threw the baby, skull-crushing finale. That's the end of the segment.
You know anything with these two, it always has been electric. It always will be electric. As The Miz says, Miz and Daniel Bryan segments are must-see TV. Mm-hmm. That's it. Okay. Do I like the fact that they're doing this now at SummerSlam? I think that this is a main event title match.
For Mania?
My thought was, yes, it was going to be at Mania. I don't like that. The only thing I don't like about them having this match now is unless they make it like a number one contenders match or anything like that, there's no stakes here. Mm-hmm. It's just The Miz versus Daniel Bryan, and
grudge
I'm like,
match.
And I'm like, this feud deserves more
than just a grudge match.
Just a grudge match. This has been what? When was NXT? 2012. When
feels like longer.
Like 2009.
I think it's 2000. Yeah, this is 2010, 2011.
This is almost 10 years in the making. Okay, this build for this feud, and it's like it seems a little off to me that it's only a grudge match with no stakes involved. So I'm like, I was hoping that the grudge match would have a title involved, or have a stipulation like number one contender or something like that. No, this just feels like it's gonna be a grudge match, but it's gonna be a regular one-on-one match at SummerSlam. Which, while it's the second biggest pay-per-view of the year, I still expect more and more stakes for this kind of match.
Unless they make it a mixed tag match like they did with Cena and Nikki. Now it's going to be Daniel and Brie versus Miz and Maurice.
I would hate.
No, thank you.
I had to do it. I'm like, I have to be that asshole to throw a little wrench in there.
All right, how about I take the wrench out and add a little spice of my own? I'm good with this because this to me reads not like a regular feud. This to me reads as Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn type of feud. This is the first steps.
Where you can always come back to it.
Exactly. This is just for now. They can absolutely extend this and pick it up whenever they want. Whenever Miz or Daniel Bryan gets a major title again,
because they did fight over the United States title in 2010, right?
Yes, they did.
Yes.
Let enough time pass. Let one of them win the world title. And revisit it.
Let enough time pass. Have the Miz blow up on Daniel Bryan and talking smack.
Again,
has Daniel Bryan signed a new contract? I know his current one ends in September.
I don't know if he's signed yet.
I don't think it's been confirmed yet.
But
the chances of him actually signing a new contract is pretty high, because even he said himself, my wife works in WWE,
and now
so
that
it kind of makes sense if I continue working there.
And now he's actually being allowed to do what he wants to do. So it's like, okay,
he doesn't need to go anywhere else.
Okay, I'm getting paid this amount of money. I'm getting to do what I love to do, which was what all the shit talk was about in the first place. So now I'm allowed to wrestle. My wife still works for the company. Okay, I know that the fans want me to go to New Japan. I know that the fans want me to go to Ring of Honor. But at this point, why would I do that?
It's one of the biggest draws. So.
And besides, as a Daniel Bryan fan, as long as he's still wrestling, and as long as he's still putting out quality matches, and he's allowed to do what he does best, I'm perfectly fine with things the way they are.
Yeah.
Provided he's healthy, of course. But
of course.
Got no problem there. But anyway.
And now that you're actually going to give him stuff other than Big Cass, I could see why he'd want to leave if he was doing Big Cass, but now you're doing the big money feuds. You knew this feud with The Miz has been money for 10 years, so bring that back, and then you can have him go after Samoa Joe and AJ Styles.
The video package alone for this match
is
going to be just great. Glorious, phenomenal. What other gimmick has some awesome? That's really all I can think of.
Hey, I think the way you brought that full circle is plenty enough. But anyway, speaking of awesome, we got to check out a little bit of Raw versus SmackDown Live here. Which one was the better show?
This is...
Or is it obvious this week?
It's pretty obvious. And
on 3, 1, 2, 3.
SmackDown Live.
SmackDown Live.
You both suck.
Wait, you did it too?
Yeah.
I hate
Basically, what actually brought Raw down? Okay, the action itself was pretty good.
It had good matches.
The problem was the problem was the 5-10 minute long segments telling us what was already known. We didn't need to see the same segment of the Women's Evolution announcement 5 times. Every half hour they were playing this thing, and it was taking me out of the show. So it was one of those, like, you'd watch Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre. It's like, okay. Then they change it to the tag team match. It's like, okay, this was great. And then they come back and they're announcing something for the next segment. And then they come back from commercial. But before that, we got to play this again. And then they go to commercial directly after that. And it's like, So what about that thing you announced last segment that was going to be coming up next and didn't because you played this segment again? So it felt disjointed because they had to slam it in your face over and over and over again about the announcement from beforehand. While on SmackDown Live, they brought it up, but it didn't detract and distract from the rest of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So SmackDown ran smooth. It ran great. Storylines went forward. You had great matches and segments that did not suck. And Raw, you had good action. We didn't like the results of most of that action, and just got taken out of the show too many times for me to even. Like if we were given facial hair, I'd be down to peach fuzz because I couldn't get in. I would be into the show, then they'd play that segment again, and I'd be out of the show and I couldn't get back. That kind of deal.
I'm kind of have to mirror what you said. The one real flaw that happened with Raw is, like you said, it was the fact that the announcement of the Evolution pay-per-view, October 28th at Nassau Coliseum, took over the show. It was that show, and then what's going on Raw. Raw, most of the show was just dead space. Most of the stuff didn't progress anything other than Seth Rollins getting the Intercontinental title shot and Roman Reigns getting the Universal title shot. The best way to really put it this is like, oh, you look at Monday Night Raw, you have the announcement of WWE Evolution, and they were building it like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then you had Roman Reigns win the number one contender spot for the Universal title, which in their eyes is the whole bread itself.
It's the whole loaf.
And as much as I want to agree with you with what, if you were trying to find something that Lashley did, it's mainly the fact that they had Lashley's like, good job. He gave him the handshake. He pretty much just gave him the seal of approval like Undertaker did at that house show. How John Cena did after Roman Reigns beat him. That's how I was looking at it. So at that point, it's just like, once again, it's just like, oh yeah, we're not really learning anything. We're not really listening to what the fans are saying by giving us Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar again. So when it came to Raw, when I was watching it, I ended up stopping it. I actually ended up turning it off, and I just watched it again for the sake of the show. And then when it comes to SmackDown, yes, they did promote the show a lot. They did take the Evolution, October 28th at Nassau Coliseum. Watch it. They took it over the WWE Championship announcement. But when it came to actually building up for the event that's actually going to be at Nassau Coliseum, at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, that's happening in a few weeks, the second biggest show of the year, SummerSlam, that was the real focus. And the fact that SmackDown actually is progressing those stories, as you said, it got me. I was more invested. I was actually not wanting to turn it off. I wasn't watching it just to watch it for the show. I actually was legit entertained by it, and that's why, of course, once again, SmackDown takes it.
And I'm right there with you. It seemed like I audibly gave a couple different segments on SmackDown an audible. Ooh. Seriously. As soon as Samoa Joe came out there and just started strangling AJ Styles, I was like, ooh. I was like, wait a minute. Did I actually say that?
Did that actually just happen? Oh, and then the Daniel Bryan Miz segment, it happened again. And it's like, what am I doing?
Okay, those two segments was your Cesaro moments.
I wouldn't go quite that far,
I
but
would.
Well, yeah, we know how far you go. Unfortunately.
I love you, Cesaro.
Well, you know what? I think it's safe to say you've already heard more than enough from us. Now it's time to turn it over to you, our listening / viewing / audience / fan / So, of course,
so many slashes.
Let us know what you think.
Well, even one that's unnecessary.
All the slashes. Let us know what you think wherever you are across the internet. If you're joining us on YouTube, welcome. And leave us a comment, give us a thumbs up, any of the usual YouTube banter. if you're listening to us on Spotify, which we are on now, like us, heart us, whatever the Spotify kids do these days. You can also check us out on Facebook. Just run a search for the Scholars of Wrestling Show, like our page, do all that fun stuff. And if you feel like getting a little bit more up close and personal and actually really getting involved in the conversation, you can also check us out on our Twitter machines, starting with our main page at ScholarsOW. Fool, where can they reach you?
You can reach me, Mr. Scholar in the Bank, at the Avataric.
Brian, where can they reach you?
You can find me signing contracts and partying hard at
you gonna sign
Atomic Beanpole.
Are you going to sign now?
I will sign it on camera if you want me to.
And you can find me at I'm Robbie Rage. Join us for all the fun. And before we go, we, of course, must get him on camera signing that if he backs out of any of his monthly challenges as the champ, we can slap him.
I just got to make sure.
Eyewitnesses, let's go.
Right, sign it.
And the signature is going on the paper.
And I got to make sure.
It is confirmed. He will be defending this. The run sheet, the signed run sheet has it.
Okay, you're definitely that guy who's not going to let the championship get stolen.
I think we all learned a very important lesson that night. But you know what? That is for another day. Because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome. See you all next week for another day of debauchery. I'm out of here.
Sure.
Don't forget, WWE Evolution, October 28th at Nassau Coliseum. All women's pay-per-view. Don't forget it.
Be there. Watch it.